Hey, Gleb Alexandrov here. Welcome to the new, very exciting tutorial. In this video, we'll explore a 100% free mobile photogrammetry workflow. No AI in this one. We'll use a real-world, measurement-based workflow. You'll need a smartphone, free RealityScan mobile, Agisoft texture delighter, and Blender for previewing the result. Here's a bit of a context. AI-based surface approximation tools like Spark 3D, Hunyuan, or others produce genuinely impressive results, no denying that. This is, for example, a crazy result approximated from a single photo in Spark 3D. That said, the massive downside to the AI stuff, I think, is everyone is credits this, credits that, like everything going back behind paywalls or not so transparent data processing practices. So in this video, we'll strip it down to basics. In RealityScan Mobile, hit the plus. Then for smaller objects, it can be object mode or standard for environments or larger objects. I'll go with the object mode to get that auto masking working. Okay, I'm going to walk around this barrel that I stumbled across during a walk, and I'll take a bunch of photos from different angles to basically cover every feasible angle. It takes a few minutes max. I'm just trying to fully cover it, taking 50 photos or something like that. I'm using an iPhone 14 Pro Max, but pretty much any smartphone will work for photogrammetry these days, especially if there is enough light. Okay. That should do it. Oh, hello, it's me and my shoes. Okay, I'm going to move on to generating point cloud. It usually takes just a few minutes to analyze and match the images and create a point cloud. When it's finished, you'll see something like this, a 3D representation of your model. At this stage, you can evaluate if it looks good or not. There's this button to help visualize the reconstruction quality, where green is good and dense, and red is a bit more sparse, let's say. Overall, it looks good enough, but we'll see in a moment. Alright, you can check the source images and see how the object was automatically masked by the app, or separated from the background, which is really cool. And you simply press next, adjust the reconstruction region if needed, and move on to processing the mesh. I'll name it barrel. The mesh resolution set to high, texture resolution 8K, but you can go with 4K if you want. I'll stick with high res and hit process. Now, processing time can vary. I'll just fast forward to the end, skipping the wait. But it can take a while it's processed in the cloud on RealityScan servers. Well, look at that. It's our mesh with texture. I think it looks like it worked. It looks great, in fact, better than I expected. The bottom part is obviously missing, but this cut is done pretty accurately, so it's okay. You can preview just the mesh itself using Matcap to see it without texture. It looks really decent, in fact. Reality capture or RealityScan has always been good with reconstructing 3D from photos, that's a fact. And the mobile app clearly inherits that. I'm going to press Export 3D Model, and then we can choose OBJ or USDZ. I'll actually export it in both formats for a reason that will become clear in a moment. So basically we have both USDZ and the OBJ. Just to snap one more object, I thought I would scan this treehouse as well. About 5 minutes before I slipped on the icy crust and fell into a ditch. So in hindsight, it's good that I didn't bring a proper camera with me. Anyway, I'm capturing it from all angles, including the poo-covered top surfaces, and trying to not miss anything. About 50 to 70 images, the more the better. Then the point cloud generation, checking the point cloud quality, eventually moving on to reconstruction region, to mesh generation. Okay, nothing complicated, you see. And finally exporting it out in both formats as well. Took just a few minutes, really. Next, I'll open Blender and save this scene so we have a blend file. That'll be important when I drag in the USDZ file. and set the import textures mode to copy. So the textures get copied into the same folder as the saved blend file. So it needs a blend file first. See? Right away I'll click rendered mode to see how it actually looks, and it looks alright. A bit too dark probably. Actually, yeah, I'll enable ray tracing for better shading, and we'll come to the environment tab and brighten it up a bit. Yeah, so the issue is that lighting isn't even. Different sides of the mesh receive different amounts of light. You see, one side is in shadow even though the lighting was still very soft and ambient. Now we need to remove these shadows. Precisely for that, we exported out that extra OBJ with textures, because the next software only understands this format. In Agisoft Texture Delighter, click Import Modal, point it to that OBJ, see that difference in shading once again. Now I'll activate this blue icon and paint a few strokes where the shadows are. You know, just a few strokes. Maybe here as well. Then the yellow icon is the lit color. So I'll do the same for the lit areas. You know, just to help this software understand the lighting conditions. Maybe here as well. And that should do it. That should be enough. First, I'll click Remove Cast Shadows Preview to quickly approximate how it would look. It looks pretty decent, I think, minus a few minor issues here and there, but I think it's good enough. So I'll delete this preview now. Right-click, Remove. Then select it again and go Remove Cast Shadows without preview. It can take a while to calculate that. Alright folks, here's before and after, so you can see the difference. So yeah, this software removed the difference in light levels. Next step, go to the panel called Remove Shading. I will actually set the ambient occlusion removal strength a bit lower, to something like 0.3, and we'll go Remove Shading right away. And now it should look even more uniform once it finished processing. Now it should look like a proper diffuse texture or base color texture without any lighting information. Yeah, I think it's actually a really good result. That should totally work. It is now ready to be exported back from Texture Delighter to a new folder. I will call it Delighted, or is it Delit? I don't know. This barrel will probably be Delighted to be called like that. PNG for textures, I don't need UDems, okay. Back to Blender, I will duplicate this barrel to show the difference. For the second one, I will make a material copy. Material is also delighted by our attempts, apparently. Now we'll need a shader editor. And here I'll swap the original diffuse texture with the new one we have just exported from Agisoft Delighter. See that? The original one has a lot of baked light and shadow, even though it was captured on an overcast day. And in this one, all that lighting data has been removed. Now it has a proper, game-ready base color texture. Here's the same kind of treatment for the treehouse model, the original one, and the delit version, delighted or whatever, that has a diffuse texture with no or little to no baked shadows. By the way, I love these crispy details. Not bad for a smartphone, right? I have a soft spot for photogrammetry houses. Anyway, that's it. That's the 100% free mobile photogrammetry workflow. We used RealityScan Mobile, Agisoft Texture Delighter, and Blender to preview the result, and this is it. If you want to explore photoscanning in more depth, including best practices of shooting photos using DSLR and more, our Photogrammetry course, using more powerful desktop version of RealityScan, has been 100% tested for compatibility with the latest versions of everything. And it's still very much relevant for real-world measurement-based 3D from photos. The only thing that's changed over years is that desktop RealityScan 4mm reality capture is now also 100% free after being acquired by Epic Games. Check it out!